Hello, good evening. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present Camnet Television main news tonight. Our top stories in the news: Socialist Party attributes the rise in meal prices to ongoing exports. EIZ warns engineers behind the collapsed building in Lusaka's Linda compound. A rights activist accuses authorities of targeting Zambians over foreigners in the corruption fight. In international news, UN continuing efforts to restore order in Niger. And in sports news, South Africa stuns Italy to advance to the round of 8.
Hello Zambia. Greetings to all soccer-loving Zambians. I'm Dr. Stenkusi from the Czech Republic, and I will bring with me soccer agent Mr. Jakub Skibík and the coach Mr. Pavel Ondrečka, both from the Czech Republic as well. The Football League in the Czech Republic is a qualitative and competitive league in the world. Knowing that, there are a lot of highly talented footballers in Zambia. All of us will be visiting Zambia from the 2nd to 6th of August 2023 in partnership with Camnet Football Academy. Agent and coach will come to Lusaka, Zambia to look at promising young Zambian players. Chances are that hard-working players may get engagement in the Czech Republic and including other European leagues. We look forward to seeing you at the tournament, which will be organized by Pastor Moses Chiluba of Camnet Television. See you soon!
This is Camnet Television main news, and other news in detail. Former President Edgar Lungu's daughter, Chieso, has urged the Economic and Financial Crimes Court and High Court Division to dismiss the case commenced by the Director of Public Prosecutions, citing irregularity seeking to forfeit their property to the state. Chieso Lungu, who is a lawyer by profession, alleges that the DPP has failed to serve her court documents since the matter was started. This is in a matter where the DPP has commenced proceedings before the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, wanting the court to order the Lungu's property be forfeited to the state. The state alleges that the properties which they have cited in the notice of motion are tainted. More in this report.
The former First family have continued to file their arguments before court in relation to a matter where the Director of Public Prosecution has instituted proceedings against them to ensure that their properties are forfeited to the state because they are allegedly tainted. Former President Edgar Lungu's daughter Chieso has urged the Economic and Financial Crimes High Court Division to dismiss the case commenced by the DPP, citing irregularity. Chieso Lungu, who is a lawyer by profession, submits that the DPP has failed to serve a court document since the matter was commenced. This is in a matter where the DPP has commenced proceedings against her, wanting the court to order that her property be forfeited to the state. Among the properties that the DPP seeks to be forfeited to the state are 3 flats and a pottery. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Gilbert Period, filed originating notice of motions for an application of a non-conviction-based forfeiture order of tainted property pursuant to Order 30 Rules 15 and 17 of the High Court Rules, read together with Section 29 and 31 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010, implying that Chieso will give up on her properties without being subjected to trial. According to an affidavit sworn on behalf of the DPP by Emmanuel Gondwe, a senior investigations officer at the Drug Enforcement Commission (DEC) under the Anti-Money Laundering Investigations Unit, he had submitted before court that Chieso Lungu has 2 farms in State Lodge with a high-cost house and 4 chicken runs. According to the senior investigations officer, previous submissions before court, the same were acquired between 2013 and 2021. He had also submitted before court that Chieso holds an account at FNB, which she opened on December 9, 2014, and had no significant transactions since it was opened until 2018, when she started using it as a salary account. However, in her affidavit in support of summons to set aside proceedings for irregularity, claims she has not been served with the originating notice of the motions relating to the present matter, and as such she has not had sight nor knowledge of the reliefs endorsed in the said motion. She has since applied to have the process set aside for irregularity. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The members of two people of the same family of LUSAKA'S Chawama compound who died in unclear circumstances after the house they were sleeping in caught fire is suspecting foul play in the death of their beloved ones. Mother and grandmother to the deceased, Catherine Musonda, alleges that a fire that strangely started from the door cannot lead to the death of her son and grandson. Ms. Musonda has appealed to the police to investigate the matter. The duo died on Friday, 28 July 2023, around 24 hours after the door of the house they were sleeping in caught fire in unclear circumstances. Here's a report.
They cannot comprehend the loss of their beloved ones who died after the house they were sleeping in caught fire in unclear circumstances. A 46-year-old Elias Mandawala and his son Elias Mandawala Jr. 22 met their fate on Friday 28 July 2023 around 24 hours while they were sleeping. It is alleged that the fire started from the door while the deceased were fast asleep. Catherine Ziambo, niece to the late Elias Mandawala, explains the ordeal.
Tunaona chechusi usiku, taona chusi, tachoka, tichoka tunapeza chemlio uyaka kudogo. Ndemwe tinapundira manepazi, kutana manepazi, tambotira manzi, tatira manzi, tatira, kungena mucha, peza bantu, basilizika kutara, wapi.
Ianze time bwa?
Inapia 24 hours.
Thomas Nyirongo, a relative who managed to put out the fire with the help of the neighbors, is in shock and cannot believe that the deceased met their fate in unclear circumstances. Thomas suspects foul play in the death of his relatives.
Suja muliro yakira munyumba, maybe olokendo yagwa, or maybe mwanzeni mbaula, Suja muliro yakira kudu. So hapa ndiye chikuru cha nitufunga, tangala kuna taziwa kwa chili chonzi pali kesi, vina chitika hivi.
Mother and grandmother to the deceased, Catherine Musonda, cannot bear the loss and wants the arm of the law to take its course.
Wanazona muliro unali orova. So sunuza muliro wamene kutuna chokera kuti sinizi. So pano zoti italiribe. Nganthandize vili vonse boma mona ni mavuta kulestika pano wantu wabili hapa.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Ray Hamunga says police investigations have advanced but could not give a comprehensive statement by broadcast time. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Child Rights Forum has expressed concern at the manner in which individuals entrusted with the responsibility of safeguarding the well-being of children have been managing cases and infringing upon the fundamental rights of children. Speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka, Panos Institute Southern Africa Executive Director Visumuzi Sifile charges that existence of a good law alone is not adequate to address issues affecting children. He has urged the government to prioritize the sensitization of the public on the laws governing children's issues, especially the recently enacted Children's Code Act No. 12 of 2022. Meanwhile, the forum has commended government for launching the National Child Safeguarding Framework. More in this report.
Despite progress made to ensure the safety and protection of children as seen from the enactment of the Children's Code Act No. 12 of 2022, children continue to suffer from violence, sexual abuse, among others. A coalition of esteemed civil society actors operating under the umbrella National Child Rights Forum held a press briefing Wednesday morning whose aim was to highlight some of the factors which continue to infringe the rights and safety of children despite the enactment of the bill.
Collaborating with the government in order to guarantee the utmost protection and unwavering advocacy for the welfare of children. The Forum family believes in fostering synergistic collaboration with the government and other key stakeholders to magnify the effective execution of the children's rights in Zambia. In order for our great nation to reach the pinnacle.
The forum says the existence of a good law alone is not adequate to address issues affecting children.
On one end, we still have rampant violations of children's rights, but on the other side, we have one of the most beautiful pieces of legislation, the Children's Court Act number 12 of 2022. So I think the existence of a good law alone is not adequate. I think there is a lot that needs to be done to challenge the mindsets like we have shared in terms of the communities where we come from. There are certain things that had almost been normalized, like issues of child marriage and all other kinds of violations. So there is a lot of mindset change that needs to take place at all levels, including decision makers and the law enforcers.
A call has also been made to law enforcers to ensure that they familiarize themselves with the law pertaining to the well-being of children, including their involvement with the justice system, and further to attach seriousness when dealing with cases involving children.
I believe that the process of change of attitude must be prioritized. The other point is that whenever we introduce new laws as a government, we need to sensitize those who are supposed to be the duty bearers. Up to now, there are certain teachers who are very upset that corporal punishment was banned in schools because it was just banned at the higher level, but it was not shared. Like, what kind of processes can we use alternatively to ensure that learners are disciplined without humiliating them? So I think there's need for us as government to ensure that whenever new laws or policies are introduced, those that are supposed to implement them are oriented.
Meanwhile, the forum has commended government for launching the National Child Safeguarding Framework.
The forum wholeheartedly commends the government, led by the esteemed Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, for the remarkable launch of the National Child Safeguarding Framework. This visionary initiative is set to revolutionize child safeguarding across all great nations, elevating our commitment to protecting and nurturing the well-being of our precious children.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Police Service, working with the Ministry of Health with support from the United Nations Population Fund, have revised the police medical form to eliminate inadequacies that delay justice in gender-based violence cases. Speaking at the launch of the new form in Lusaka Wednesday, Minister of Home Affairs Jack Mwimbu, who was represented by Ministry Permanent Secretary, says the revised medical form will provide a proper documentation of medical evidence to support timely collection of relevant samples that are vital for prosecution purposes. Meanwhile, UNFPA representative Seth Brockman says the form that has been initiated will play a critical role to provide immediate medical and psychological assistance to GBV survivors and to assist them in avoiding additional exposure to violence. More in this report.
They say justice delayed is justice denied. Many victims of gender-based violence have failed to receive justice in their matter due to failure by the Zambia Police Service and the health facilities to produce a better medical report that will see to it that all the assault is documented before being presented before the courts of law. In order to amend these challenges, the Zambia Police Service, working with the Ministry of Health, with the support from the United Nations Population Fund, have since revised the police medical report form to ensure that it tallies with the conditions of the victims. Speaking at the launch of the form in Lusaka Wednesday, the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu, who was represented by Ministry Permanent Secretary Dickson Matambo, says the newly degazetted form has been meticulously revised to include enhanced sections and features that capture essential medical information for evidence purposes.
In response to these inadequacies and challenges, the Zambia Police Medical Report. The Zambia Police Service, through the technical committee, reviewed and developed a new medical report to address the inadequacies that made it difficult to investigate and corroborate evidence in crimes associated with sexual, gender-based violence and other crimes.
And the Inspector General of Police, represented by Police Deputy Inspector General for Administration, Anita Mbawe, says the service is working at ensuring that justice is served for all the victims of sexual, gender-based violence.
The report serves as an investigative tool and is also given us expert evidence in courts. Therefore, it is important that the form is accurate, clear and factual in manner so that the police can have a conclusive investigation in matters such as assaults, defilement and rape, among others.
The Ministry of Health is happy to see the development, which they say will lessen the time it takes for one to access medical services after being sexually violated.
Statistics for gender-based violence have remained extremely high in Zambia. For example, in 2022 alone, we had actually 53,000 cases of gender-based violence. And those were the cases reported through our health information system. But of course, there could probably be many that were not reported.
Meanwhile, UNFPA representative Seth Brockham says the form that has been launched will play a critical role to provide immediate medical and psychological assistance to GBV survivors.
One element of the work being done is the theory that once the survivor service provider have the capacity to deliver quality, respectful and, for today very important, coordinated essential services. And these services are available and accessible to women and girls. Women and girls who experience any form of violence will indeed make use of these services and will therefore be supported to recover from violence.
For now, the police service says it will continue to work at ensuring that GBV cases are prevented before they can occur. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Engineering Institution of Zambia, EIZ, says the institute has taken keen interest in the accident where a building under construction collapsed at Lusaka's Linda roundabout on Monday, the 1st August 2023, killing one person. EIZ President Ebon Ngandu has warned of stern action against all the engineers that were on site should they be found wanting. Engineer Ngandu has since called on the engineering department at the Lusaka City Council to thoroughly investigate the matter.
We are very concerned as EIZ because we can see very clearly there was no safety, health and safety procedures which were put in place. So for us as EIZ, we actually appeal to the Lusaka City Council through the Department of Engineering to make sure that they can pursue this issue so that they get to the bottom of it. Because the law is very clear under the Health and Safety Act. So if you check the law, it's very clear. If you are constructing, you're supposed to make sure that all precautions are taken into account. So as EIZ, we feel very bad and very sad actually that one life has been lost. So we call upon the Lusaka City Council to investigate the matter. Otherwise, even us as EIZ will make sure we make a follow-up so that we get to the bottom of it. This is something which should not be tolerated. When you're a member of EIZ, you are supposed to follow all the procedures, including health and safety on construction sites. And you know, all procedures must be followed. When you're constructing, especially a double-story building, the requirements are even more stringent. We don't even know right now the quality of concrete which is there. So I think even as EIZ, we're going to pay particular attention in this particular matter. We're going to send inspectors there to get to the bottom of it, to find out actually what has transpired. And if we find that engineering professionals or people who are not registered with EIZ were actually constructing that particular building, we shall take action.
The opposition Socialist Party leader, Fred Membe, has expressed displeasure in the manner government is handling the negotiations surrounding the Konkola copper mines, KCM, and Mopani mines. Mr. Membe says government has failed to handle the issues surrounding the country's major mines. He has further underscored the need for proactive measures to reduce the high cost of living in the country. Here's a report.
Mining remains the country's major factor in driving the growth of the country's economy. Despite issues surrounding Zambia's giant mines, Konkola copper mine and Mopani copper mines, anxiety is now the order of the day among stakeholders on who is going to take over the running of Konkola and Mopani copper mines after the government backed down on its assurance to announce the conclusion of negotiations and the subsequent takeover of the two mines by July 31st, 2023. But opposition Socialist Party President Fred Membe says the failure of the government to announce a new investor in the running of Konkola and Mopani copper mines is evidence that there is no plan to revamp the mining sector in the country. Speaking shortly at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport after he arrived from the Russian-African Summit Wednesday, 2nd August 2023, Dr. Membe says government has failed to resolve issues surrounding the country's major mines.
We are also following the issues on the mines. We were promised the mines will be sorted out by the end of this month. It hasn't. It has been taken to a day we don't know when. All these are causing stresses for our people, and they need to be looked up into. They need to be addressed, and that's why our party is there for.
The cost of living in the country, Dr. Membe feels something must change to stabilize the price of mealie meal in the country, further warning that the export of the commodity to other countries is a major contributor to the increasing pricing of the country's staple food.
Increases in the meal prices, the export of meal. We were following all that. The challenges our people are facing are huge. This country is not going to be a good place for any of us to live in if it's not a good place for all of us. There's also growing anxiety. People don't know how tomorrow will be. You go to bed, you don't know what you eat tomorrow. This is causing a lot of stress for our people in a day. There is something that has gone wrong in the country. There is something that needs to be corrected quickly if we have to survive.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Governance activist Brebna Changala has advised the New Dawn government to extend the fight against corruption to foreign business owners. Mr. Changala feels the current fight against corruption, where only Zambian nationals are subjected to investigations, will not yield any positive results. Speaking in an interview with Camnet TV News in Lusaka, Mr. Changala says investigations must be inclusive regardless of what nationality one is.
To fight corruption in this country, we expected the SEC, the DEC, and all law enforcement agencies to remain neutral and blind, and not to look at who they are going to investigate or indeed take to court. Unfortunately, we are in a situation that when the New Dawn administration came to power, a Gazette Notice 1123 was signed, taking all these institutions to the presidency, and that is problem number one. Because the presidency is the executive, and the executive is the main area of abuse and corruption. And one wonders how suspects can superintend over the law enforcement agencies. It doesn't work that way. There is an issue of the Chinese who participated in many contracts, who we do believe also enjoyed government policy which was sold to them. And this is where probably our colleagues collected a lot of money, which today they are being asked to account. Now, what is puzzling, there is no foreigner who has been arrested for failing to account. There is no foreigner who has been told to account for any property, for any motor vehicles. So this corruption is only meant for the black Zambian, which is not true, because it takes two to tango. So I'm urging the law enforcement agencies, as they go on rampage, attacking their fellow citizens, they must also understand that these people could not have amassed this wealth without the source. They must create a crime scene. And to do this, they must not politicize the fight against corruption. They must take time to understand the source of illicit money by our government officials.
The Bus and Taxi Owners Association of Zambia has labeled the move to suspend the public service transport license of Likili Bus as harsh, claiming it lacked consultation or input from the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RTSA. Minister of Transport and Logistics Frank Tayali Tuesday disclosed that the government has suspended the operation license for Likili until safety requirements are met. An association chairperson, Sydney Chewe, says the move to punish the entire company out of an error of an individual driver has left operators with fear, as they are likely to suffer the similar fate. More in the following report.
The Bus and Taxis Owners Association of Zambia and coach drivers have cried foul over government's decision to suspend the public service license of Likili Motorways, calling it a threat on their business. Minister of Transport and Logistics Frank Tayali announced the move on Tuesday, following a latest Likili bus accident that happened on the Great North Road. The incident came on the backdrop of another accident by the carrier on July 2nd, where 6 people died in an accident involving a Likili bus and a Tazara passenger train in Mpika. However, addressing the media Wednesday, Association chairperson Sydney Chewe bemoaned what he termed the lack of consultation in the minister's decision.
We feel he made the decision very harshly, without consultation, without giving a statement that is corrective also from the operators. And when you look at the operator that they've threatened to take the RSL, these operators complied in most of the things, and the RSL is given by the government. The driver license is also given by the government.
Mr. Chewe laments that an error of a single driver has punished the entire company, leaving about 70 workers in disarray.
And then starts to learn and move forward. That's the only way we can provide the service that can stay a test of time, not to threaten. The investment is too huge. The investment is such that, when we start to frustrate the sector, it is going to mean that the sector is going to be left with no investment into it, because people are going to be scared to invest into this sector.
Questioned about some concerns from members of the public on Likili's poor road record, Coach Drivers Union of Zambia General Secretary Wycliffe Simbao dispelled the assertions, claiming they were not true.
In the sector, so that we will be able to find solutions together, and like making decisions which are so harsh and based on emotions, because from the look of things, the minister made the decision using emotions, and it doesn't work out like that, because like that, it is one discouraging people from using the companies that are involved, because people will be saying, even the minister said this.
The group says it will make a final decision on whether to proceed operations or boycott after a meeting with RTSA on Thursday. In 2021, RTSA had put Likili Motorways Limited under scrutiny for poor safety measures after the agency expressed concern with the road safety profile of the company. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Chilanga Town Council has procured 2 graders under the 2022 Constituency Development Fund, CDF, aimed at improving the road network system in the district. And speaking at the event during the handover ceremony, United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Watuke Imenda urged the local authority to put the equipment to good use. More in this report.
Joy, ululation. These are Chilanga residents who witnessed the handover ceremony of 2 graders under the 2022 Constituency Development Fund (CDF) to the Chilanga Municipal Council. These machines, procured at about 5.4 million kwacha, are expected to better the road network system in Chilanga district. Gracing the event was Chilanga Constituency Member of Parliament Sipo Lazo, who says the equipment will play an important role in bettering the lives of the Chilanga residents.
We are handing over 2 graders after successfully handing over the checks for the CDF empowerment loans and successfully paying for secondary boarding school and skills development to various beneficiaries of Chilanga constituency, grants to women and youth beneficiaries and community projects under the 2022 Constituency Development Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from the water problems that the constituency has been facing, the issue of the bad state of roads has also been a major cry from the people of Chilanga. As you know, Chilanga is a vast constituency and we have more than 300 kilometers of road network to work on. And that is why we are approved to have 2 graders procured and not 1.
Meanwhile, Council Chairperson Champion Tembo thanked government for allowing development decisions to be made by the people. And United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda, who witnessed the event, urged the council to take good care of the equipment.
Seeing all these things, I'm so glad that ahead of our visitation, Honorable Sipo Gilazo had decided to invite us to come and be witness to this handover to his people, and that sooner or later we'll see well-graded roads in Chilanga here. Let us make Zambia proud by making sure that development is brought to the remotest part of this country. And through these activities that we are seeing today, we have no doubt whatsoever Zambia is headed for accelerated development.
Today we are at Chilanga Council. We are witnessing the 2 new graders that brought for us by the new dawn, and it brought excitement.
These 2 graders, I think, will bring our people, the people of Mount Makulu community, actually, they will have an easy way of moving around.
After this handover ceremony, this equipment, which was procured at about 5.4 million kwacha, is expected to start the works of grading a stretch of about 300 kilometers in 12 wards in Chilanga district. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News in Chilanga.
You're watching the news on Camnet Television. Join us for more news after the break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with Camnet Television News. Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga, has urged business establishments exhibiting at this year's Agriculture and Commercial Show to form linkages beyond the event. Speaking during the judges' luncheon, Mr. Mulenga said the companies and institutions should work at tapping into each other's strength owing to a diverse local and international brands exhibiting. More in the following report.
The 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show has opened its doors to the members of the public. Officiating at this year's Judges' Luncheon sponsored by ZESCO and Atlas Mala, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga urged the exhibitors to maximize benefits beyond the event. Mr. Mulenga said this year's theme, Inclusive Economic Transformation, can only be realized if the exhibitors work together.
Most importantly, or should I say to be particular, to the exhibitors. Let everyone who is exhibiting here today put in their best, like I said earlier. Not to compete with the next, but to complement the other neighbor that they have. There is enough and a lot for everyone out there. What is important is for you and I to do our best in our service and delivery of goods that we have. It is therefore very important that we pay attention to the three particular facets that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia has continued to impress on us. That is quality of products and goods, delivered on time and at the right cost.
ZESCO Regional Manager LUSAKA'S South, Kennedy Muchanga, says the company is proud to be part of the major sponsors of the event.
We are co-sponsors at this year's Agriculture and Commercial Show, together with Atlas Mala. This shows coexistence between the two organizations, and that we want to encourage even other organizations that in future it is just good to support one another.
This year's Agriculture and Commercial Show has attracted more than 1,300 exhibitors, including from 20 countries across the world. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Back to the concentration area. And what you are saying is casualty evacuation to ensure all injured troops.
Government has held the Chipata City Council for ensuring that traders conduct their businesses in designated areas as opposed to street vending. Ministry of Information and Media Director Spokesperson Tabo Kawana is impressed that the local authority managed to move traders back to the markets, unlike previously when streets were congested with street vendors. Mr. Kawana said this when he paid a courtesy call on the mayor of Chipata City, George Mwanza, at his office today. Mr. Kawana said government wants to see this replicated countrywide, where people trade in conducive trading places with enough facilities for sanitation and shelter. Meanwhile, Mr. Kawana says that government has put in place a fuel depot in the district which will stock fuel products including jet fuel as a way of ensuring that airlines service the district. And speaking when he received Mr. Kawana, Chipata Mayor George Mwanza expressed happiness with the way the Constituency Development Fund has helped to transform the city.
We must commend you, Your Worship, that your city is doing extremely well. We have seen that the issues that we are sort of beginning to grapple with in Lusaka to do with street vendors. There are no street vendors in Chipata. The last time I came in Chipata, this whole road was congested with street vendors. But there was a Saturday market and so on. But it's clear now. Yeah. We have managed to move all our people into the markets, and the city is clear, and I think it's a commendable thing, and that is what we want replicated countrywide, that people should go and trade in conducive trading spaces where there's enough facilities for sanitation, shelter, and so on. So
yes, we are very, very thankful, and please, as we go back to Lusaka, take our message of appreciation to the President for giving us this resource, the Constituency Development Fund, that is really, really doing wonders. We've had various problems, the Transembe Gadi, for example, which we've since worked on. And of course, we've put up various infrastructure, houses for members of staff to support with the health system and education infrastructure. As you may be aware that when you gave us free education, the enrollment levels have gone up, and that means that we needed to have more space for classrooms. And the CDF is helping us to address this challenge. We've been able to put a 1x3 classroom block at Kagunda and at Kauzu Primary School, where there was a big problem with classroom space.
Chikankata Member of Parliament Jacqueline Sabao has commended the Muslim Social and Welfare Trust for donating 9 boreholes and 200 blankets of health to health centers and the aged to help avert the challenges affecting the people. Of the 9 boreholes, 6 have been commissioned, while 2 were dry boreholes that will be redone alongside the one which is still under construction. And Ms. Sabao is grateful that the Muslim society has come to the aid of the people in her constituency. Meanwhile, the lawmaker says 80 of the 200 blankets have been donated to the hospital, while the remaining has been given to the aged. Meanwhile, Muslim Social and Welfare Trust Coordinator Mubashir Mehta said the donation is part of their community support program, which they often conduct in order to offer social services that are of high need to society.
Nasenga Rural Health Center, Namembo Rural Health Center, and Chikankata Hospital, which is the largest hospital in Chikankata, and also 100 going to the community. We've given them to the old-aged people and the disabled people. You know, our old people, they always appreciate whatever you give them, because just thinking of them, they feel that they are being appreciated as our parents. You know, if you appreciate your parents, they will give you blessings. And as area member of Parliament, I'm very happy to see the smile on the faces of my grandmothers, my grandfathers from Chikankata constituency today. Minutes for members and people of Chikankata. You know, water is life, and you know, in Chikankata we have a challenge of water. It's why that most of the areas we have dry boreholes, but we are lucky in Chikan area. At least we have water. I think here they haven't done a lot of deforestation, because one of the causes of water shortages, the challenge of water tables on the ground, is the consequences of deforestation, which has been brought about because of climate change. And so we are very thankful and grateful. Continue helping us. We always pray for you so that wherever you've gotten these resources, God should add more.
Ndizo wa Mulungu tinakwanisa kukumba ma 6 boreholes ku Chikankata district. 6 boreholes tinakwanisa kukumba, 2 inaenda dry. So tinakwanisa kukumba about 6 boreholes at the cost of 180,000 kwacha. Inakumbiwa from different areas amachita benefit wantu. So lero tinapeza ntawi na pamozi na honorable alipa break from parliament manje. So tibwere tichite handover. Wantu wasewentiza maboho zicha.
Yungihe. Bamasorori besu. Ababambire ibubotu igwinda mo bakisiri no kutogwa andiswe tukatambula ibubotu gwinda mo tukisi. Twalumba igunji twalumba no bantu bareza.
And now, government is saddened by the fire incident that swept through Chisokone Market in Kitwe district of the Copperbelt province, causing significant damage to property. Minister of Information and Media and Chief Government Spokesperson Chushika Sanda regrets that within a short period of time, Chisokone Market has been struck by the same unfortunate fate of fire, causing untold suffering to many hard-working Zambians. She says government, through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, and other government agencies will promptly assess the extent of the damage at the market and provide the necessary interventions to support and assist the affected marketeers in rebuilding their businesses and lives. The Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia has complained to government that the charges slapped on them for non-compliance are too high and will collapse their businesses. Association President Pastor Joseph Mwansa says the miners are willing to engage government on the matter in order to dialogue and see how best the situation can be resolved without negatively impacting the sector. Pastor Mwansa says the union acknowledges that its members are at fault for failing to abide by the law, but says they are willing to admit the wrongs and pay the charges, which should be minimal. The Ministry of Mines has fined 300 mines for non-compliance and have been ordered to pay different amounts ranging from 90,000 kwacha to 270,000 kwacha for non-compliance.
As Federation of Small-Scale Miners of Zambia, we are appealing to the government, the new Dawn government, concerning the charges which have been slapped on the miners. We feel that the charges are quite high, and we are just coming out from COVID-19. Of course, we acknowledge that we are at fault for non-compliance. We would like to engage the government and our organization to see how best we can solve the problem. The government of today, it's a government of the people. And our President, His Excellency, has been encouraging us to form cooperatives, and we believe he's a firm supporter of our industry, and he cannot go against his word. It's our prayer that we are given a chance to dialogue and see how best we can sort out the problem. May God bless our nation.
This is Camnet Television Main News. We'll take our second and final break. We have more in international and sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, media news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In Forgotten Stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And now in international news, France, Italy and Spain announced evacuations from Niger for their citizens and other European nationals Tuesday, concerned that they risked becoming trapped by a military coup that won backing from 3 other West African nations, also ruled by mutinous soldiers. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
The United States government has lauded Kenya's commitment to deploy a contingent of 1,000 police officers to help train interstate Haitian police to restore normalcy in the crisis-hit country. The U.S. now says it will put forward a UN Security Council resolution to help Kenya on its tasks.
We are committed to finding the resources to support this multinational force. As I said, I think it's too early to get into any details about what those resources might be. But after the Kenyans have conducted their initial assessment mission, we will, of course, be in contact with them about what it might look like. I would note Secretary Blinken, actually before we left Australia, had a call with the President of Kenya to talk about how we might coordinate this work, and we'll continue to be in close coordination with them.
Criminal gangs have exerted their influence in the country, leading to a prevalence of violence crimes such as kidnappings for ransom, carjackings, rapes, and armed thefts. Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who succeeded Moise, has been grappling with the challenge of curbing the violence, but the country has faced humanitarian, political, and security crises. The United States government has lauded Kenya's commitment to deploy a contingent of 1,000 police officers to help train interstate Haitian police to restore normalcy in the crisis-hit country. The U.S. now says it will put forward a UN Security Council resolution to help Kenya on its tasks.
Committed to finding the resources to support this multinational force. As I said, I think it's too early to get into any details about what those resources might be. But after the Kenyans have conducted their initial assessment mission, we will, of course, be in contact with them about what it might look like. I would note Secretary Blinken, actually before we left Australia, had a call with the President of Kenya to talk about how we might coordinate this work, and we'll continue to be in close coordination with them.
Criminal gangs have exerted their influence in the country, leading to a prevalence of violence crimes such as kidnappings for ransom, carjackings, rapes, and armed thefts. Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who succeeded Moise, has been grappling with the challenge of curbing the violence, but the country has faced humanitarian, political, and security crises.
In our sports news tonight, South Africa will reach the last 8 of the Women's World Cup for the first time in their history after beating 2019 quarter-finalist Italy by 3-2 in Wellington on Wednesday. The South Africans, second in Group D, will face the Dutch in the next round.
South Africa will play in the round of 16 at the Women's World Cup for their first time after beating 2019 quarter-finalist Italy 3-2 in Wellington on Wednesday. South Africa will face the Netherlands in the next round. Trailing 1-0 after just 11 minutes, the South Africans scored twice before conceding a second goal to the Italians. But Thembi Kgatlana's goal in added time made the difference, putting Banyana through to the next round.
And Camnet television main news, the headlines once again. Socialist Party attributes the rise in mealie meal prices to ongoing exports. EIZ warns engineers behind the collapsed building in LUSAKA'S Linda compound. A rights activist accuses authorities of targeting Zambians over foreigners in the corruption fight. In international news, UN continuing efforts to restore order in Niger. And in sports news, South Africa stuns Italy to advance to the round of 8. Our comment verse of the day is coming from the book of Genesis 4, verse 7. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Thank you for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.